Hey there, how's it going, everybody? Today is my push day training log. Um, it's pretty cold outside today, like mid 20s Fahrenheit, mid single negative digits Celsius, if my quick mental math is correct. Um, I'll try not to be as boring today when I talk. Last time on the last video, I had to work out in the morning, and then because of school, I couldn't do the voiceover until later in the day, and needless to say, my mind was pretty exhausted at that point. But anyways, hopefully this one will be quite a bit better. The YouTube algorithm is very weird. Some of my videos that I feel like I've put a lot of work into, like the last one, has like 2 views, and then there'll be this random videos that I didn't feel like I done anything different or special on, and they'll have like, a couple hundred views, so it's very random, very unpredictable. But like I've said a few times, the point of me uploading these videos is for myself primarily. But, if I can help other people in the process, then that's a good thing as well. It's always good when we can help others. So hopefully not only, am I helping myself by, coaching and critiquing myself, but hopefully you guys can learn something as well. Or if, someone out there is watching my videos that is very talented themselves, maybe you can give me, some pointers. And, not saying that I'm very talented, but I'd like to think I know a thing or two, but honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just a hobbyist athlete, and I'm just here for fun. And it's just a fun hobby. Gives you something to do, stress relief. Gets something else going on in my life besides sitting at the desk doing paperwork. But anyways, I'll try to say less and less, and I'll try to talk a bit more specifically about my workout clips as I'm doing them. With the exception of these of the warm-up parts, because there's not really anything super interesting here, but I do include these because it does give me time to talk about something if I'd like to talk about something. And it's also for people, that might be curious as to what I do for a warm-up. As I've talked about a lot, warm-ups are great. Warm-ups decrease your chances of injury. Warm-ups make you stronger. Warm-ups give you time to think about what you're going to be doing. You could argue that the whole workout, in a sense, is a warm-up. Jokes aside, I like to warm up for a good little bit when I first start my workouts. I really like this 6-rep warm up, which is what I'm doing right now with this orange band. Just kind of pulling different directions. Making sure I'm postured up. As I've touched on in that last video. When I do the shadow boxing, that kind of makes me feel like tucking my chin and kind of shrugging my shoulders a bit, which is good for shadow boxing. Yeah, but it's not good anytime you're doing any kind of resistance activity like the 6-rep warm up or calisthenics skills or working sets or anything like that. So you have to really get it in your head that draw that line down the middle, and on one side of the line it's okay to shrug your shoulders and tuck your chin. On the other side of the line it is not okay, and you need to stay postured up. You need to be extending your neck, keeping those scapulas. See, I'm kind of demonstrating there how I'm extending my neck, but that really that locks your shoulders and your scapulas in a safe position where they are anchored, by the muscles, and it'll be the muscles that is holding the resistance, instead of your connective tissues. So it's a safety precaution. Here we're getting into some skills. This is where the workout is sort of starting. This is skill practice. This is going to be a handstand press. As I touched on in the last video, I feel like I've been kind of getting lazy on my handstand. I've been kind of relaxing my core, and the handstand is a full body exercise. You need to have your core nice and tight, otherwise you'll be like a cooked spaghetti noodle, and it's nearly impossible to keep your balance. But I feel like this was a great handstand press. It was a struggle getting up there. I really felt like I was going to lose it several times on the way up. But once I got there, I felt pretty comfortable. You can hear me there in the background. So I only gave that one attempt, and I just kind of dusting the cobwebs off, just polishing it up a little bit, and we'll get into some planche training. I feel like planche is something I've gotten a lot better at here recently. Look at that, getting some arm extension, trying to straighten out my arms. That is the detail I'm working on at the moment. So on that first attempt, I try the most difficult progression I can reasonably do. And on this second attempt, I'm going to try an easier progression for time under tension. Really focused on getting those arms straight. There's still a bit of bend there, but I don't think it's anything significant. Just getting some time under tension. Here, I think I'm attempting handstand push-ups, and I've really kind of went downhill on these lately. At one point in time, I could rep out, about 3 reps. And I think a lot of that has been where I've been getting lazy on my core. See how kind of bending there at the midsection. But there's your occasional reminder of why I feel a prerequisite to any handstand training is being able to ninja roll. Because you always want that in your back pocket. You always want that to be your fail-safe. If you start to flip over, don't just land flat on your back on the ground. You could break a rib or something. But just tuck your head and just roll through and just keep on going about your day. But I wasn't very happy with my handstand training or my handstand practice today. So at the end of my workout today, I decided I would hit something that I haven't hit in a while. And I feel like it's a great building block for any kind of handstand skill, any kind of handstand practice that you may be interested in. Here's a little bit of one-arm push-up. These used to be something I could do, like 6 to 8 reps each side, flat on the ground, not incline, when I was younger and, a lot less heavy. But, I'd like to get back into those, but they're not exactly on the top of my priority list. Here we're getting into the working sets. These are band resisted ring dips. Really trying to think about working slow and controlled, as I've been talking about a lot here lately. There's a lot more going on here than it looks like. I'm trying to think about where to have micro pauses, which should be at the bottom of the range of motion. I'm trying to think about when to breathe, and I'm trying to think about keeping my neck stuck out and extended, and my shoulders, my scapulas, protracted. There's a lot going on, and I have to try and synchronize all those things at once. But that's just the art of calisthenics, and we don't have to be perfect at it. It's just something we can work at over time. Hitting that second set. Like I've said a few times, I do the 2-set method. I'm trying to decrease the overall volume, but increase the overall quality of my workouts. It increases your recovery period. It decreases your recovery period, and it allows you to get back, to training faster. You don't have to recover as long. So it kind of speeds up the cycle of, breaking down the muscle tissue, recovering a little bit stronger, repeat. Here's pike push-ups, incline. I was on very tips of my toes with these today. I'm trying to put as much weight as I can on my shoulders, my arms, and I'm trying to make my upper body do as much balancing and as coordination as possible. This is something that in your head you can make this as easy or as difficult as you want to by, deciding where you want to put your body weight. Do you want to put more weight on your hands or do you want to put more weight on your feet? When you first start out, obviously put more weight on your feet, but over time and during your progression, try to get to where you can put more weight on your hands. And then, once you master that, you should be pretty close to being able to do handstand push-ups pretty well. But taking these pretty slow and controlled, like I was saying, really trying to keep the weight on my hands as much as I can, trying to maintain good form, keeping those scapulas where they needed to be. You can see how much weight I'm putting on my hands because I'm able to pretty much just float my knees, from the bench to underneath me. I'm probably putting 90% or more of my body weight on my hands during that exercise. Here I have a broken green band. It's broken, but it's not exactly trash because I can still do things like this with it, those lateral raises. So be careful what you throw away, because you might not always need to throw something away. You might still be able to get some use out of it. Have some more bands that are, just for inside, just for my inside gym. I've got a few things built for, but it needs a lot more work put into it. You'll actually get to see a little sneak peek here in a bit of what I've got when I show that extra handstand attempt. It's going to be inside, and it's going to be on one of those Bosu. I don't really know what you'd call them. They are like it's like a half exercise ball or something with a flat platform on top. I'm sure you've seen them if you've been to a public gym before. But I have my own. I think they're a great tool. Biggest tools you can get for yourself if you are interested in calisthenics training. Get yourself a set of rings. I prefer the wooden ones. Get yourself a Bosu. You can do all different kinds of stuff on. Get yourself, a doorway pull-up bar, or build yourself something like I have here in the background. Get yourself a jump rope, and get yourself some parallettes. Here's inside my house, and here is where the gym. You can see those pieces of wood on the floor. My inside setup that I'm building right now, and during my spare time, which I don't have a whole lot of, is going in that location. But this particular skill I'm doing right here, these Bosu handstands, are something I haven't hit in a few weeks, and something that I feel is absolutely wonderful. It's a wonderful building block for any kind of handstand. That will really level up your handstand on flat ground when you get where you can do it on a balance board like that. And also, I feel like my torso was a whole lot straighter. I didn't exactly have that banana look where my back was curved and arched so much. That's not something you want. You want to have your torso and your whole body as straight as possible anytime you're doing any kind of handstand. And the way you do that is by flexing your core, flexing your legs. Like I was saying, it's a full body exercise. It's not just your shoulders, not just your arms. But handstands are definitely a full body skill, to some degree. But anyways, stretching out, we're coming to the end of the workout. Remember, I do the 2-set method, so I always warm up, and then I hit some skill practice, and then I only hit, 2 to 3 working exercises, and each of those exercises I hit 2 sets on. And the idea, like I was saying, is to decrease the volume, decrease your recovery period, and increase the rate at which you break down the muscle fibers, recover, break down the muscle fibers, recover. And the idea is that you can build muscle faster, you can get stronger faster over time. And I've been doing this for probably 6 to 8 months. And before that, I was training way too hard for probably over a decade. And I've been very impressed with the 2-set method. I would strongly recommend that to anyone. And if that's something you're interested in, just give that a search on YouTube. You can give that a Google. You can kind of listen to what I've been talking about, and you can kind of see how I do it. But I strongly recommend that for any kind of training. It's a great tool to use. But that's all I have for today. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Stay safe, stay happy, and keep training. Take care. Bye-bye.